A deal on Dickens, who could resist? A stack of Austen, warmly kissed. Golden Age crime tales twist and turn, every page a treasure to learn. Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea, reading always feels so free.
Hi, my name is Talia. Welcome to Talia Nerds Out. I meant to record these reviews a lot earlier, but all of last week was really rough. I was basically into mast cell flare all last week. For those who are unaware, one of my medical conditions is mast cell activation syndrome, basically where my body treats random things like allergens. And I was reacting to, we've been having a lot of thunderstorms down here, and we've been having a very, very hot weather. So, in my previous video that I had posted, my whole area around my eye was really swollen, and excuse me, and I had about a breakout on my face. That's mostly healed now, although I still have an area that is healing. The swelling is pretty much completely down, but I've been resting a lot and just not really had the energy to post any other videos. But yeah, I just wasn't healing the way I normally do. And I'm thinking, like I said, was beyond my normal triggers. For whatever reason, my body was just more sensitive than it normally is. It was affecting my healing. But yeah. So, for those who commented on other videos, sorry I haven't responded yet. Sorry, there's like a frog in my throat. So sorry I haven't responded yet. I do plan on responding to people's comments. I was just doing a lot of resting. Because sometimes, especially when I was at the worst of its swelling, light would sometimes really hurt my eyes. Anyway, I have a couple book reviews to do to finish up June. I finished 2 more books for the June read-alongs. I finished Red River, which is the subject of this particular video, and I finished Baron and Luthien. But let's focus on Red River right now. So Red River is a book by Borden Chase. It originally was called Blazing Guns on the Chisholm Trail. Not quite sure when the title changed over to Red River. But I was first introduced to this story via the John Wayne movie. John Wayne playing one of the leads as Dunstan, and then with Montgomery Clift as Matthew. And that was, for many years, my only introduction to this story. And many aspects do remain the same, but there are some significant differences. First off, let me kind of do a brief touch on what I feel about the movie of Red River, which was, like I said, my main introduction, my first introduction, and my main knowledge of this story for many years. I have always felt that Red River has been a bit of a mixed bag, movie-wise, for me. I enjoyed the aspects that had to do directly with Matthew's character and Dunstan's character. Cherry Valance as well. But Tess Millay, I believe is the actual name. I'm just going to say Tess. Her character always felt off to me. Like there was something that was missing for her character. Something I just couldn't quite put my finger on. She felt hard, but I didn't understand why she felt hard. She just she's always just felt off to me in the movie format. And I've never been able to put my finger on it until actually reading this book. Other points for the movie. I think that probably was my main issue with things like that. A couple of aspects about how the ending was handled. But I think a lot of my issues did come with Tess, because she felt so awkward and kind of weird, just the way that she was handled. And so it has always made Red River, like I said, a bit of a mixed bag for me for a movie. As long as Matthew was really having the focus, or Dunstan, that worked really well for me. But once we started getting to Tess, whenever she got touched on, just like, I don't know, I'm missing something here. Now, this year for June on the Range, I read Red River for the first time. And everything came together for me about why Tess felt off. Tess in the book is a hard character. And they give you a good idea of why she is hard in the book. They give you her motivations, and they start the book off with her right away. You don't wait like half the movie until you meet Tess. And you don't meet Tess the way you do in the movie, even though circumstances similar to what you see in the movie do occur at that time period. They do have some of the same aspects of dealing with Indians and all that other kind of thing, but not the way in which it occurred in the movie. And this book just kind of made all that come together for me, like why I was sitting there like, okay, what is going on with her? This explains what was going on with her. This explains and lets you see that, yes, Tess is a hard character. These are some of the things that occur around her. And honestly, in some ways, she's like Dunstan. And yeah, I just think it's interesting. Matthew, I think Montgomery Clift did a really good job as Matthew. I don't think he's quite tall enough. Although I'm not actually sure how tall Montgomery Clift is. He always seemed kind of smaller to me, but that might be just because of John Wayne's height. I could be completely wrong. Also, it's been a while since I've seen Red River. Also, Cherry Valance gets treated very differently. The movie treats Cherry Valance very well, much better than the character deserves to be treated. And I don't want to go too much more into Cherry because I don't want to ruin what is done with his character in here. But the Cherry in the movie is not the same character as Cherry in the book. They share a lot of similar characteristics, but Cherry in the movie is a better person than Cherry in the book. Just like I would argue that Tess might be a better person. And I can't even say that for the movie Tess. The movie Tess just feels kind of cobbled together and weird. Like she just doesn't, like they wanted to put Tess in there, but they almost didn't know how to put her on screen and handle her well at that time period. I do wonder if in a later time period, if Tess would have been handled more in the way that she is in the book. And if maybe the codes of movie making back then didn't really allow for Tess to have her full character development on screen. Or if there simply wasn't enough time to handle Tess. Dunstan feels like Dunstan. Now, I don't know the name of the actor, but I was surprised, and I'm going to call him by what I originally meant the actor in. I want to say the actor's name is Walter Brennan, but I might be wrong. He plays Stumpy in Rio Bravo. So if anyone's watched Rio Bravo, they might know who I'm talking about. My family just calls him Stumpy because that's what we always think of him as being part of. He's the old man in Rio Bravo. And I'm saying this because he's shorter. And I don't think I'm trying to think if I've ever seen him not as an older character. So yeah, when I refer to Stumpy, I'm referring to that actor. I'm actually completely sure of his name. I think it's Walter Brennan, but I'm not sure. Anyway, his character, and I believe I want to say he's the cook in the movie. He has a lot bigger part in the movie than he does in the book. And they also add a whole nother subplot for Dunstan where there was like a kind of lost love sort of subplot that has no play in the book. And honestly, I think that it makes more sense not to have had that play in it. It actually softens Dunstan's character a bit in the movie. I think that it works a lot better the way it was written in the book, where you don't have that other aspect. Dunstan is and remains a very goal-motivated, very ambitious person, concerned about his concerned about his legacy, but not distracted really by other things. So how I would rate this book, I think I gave this a 4-star. I found it to be easy to read. It's definitely even though there is what you might consider a romantic subplot in the book, that isn't really what takes the main attention. And the main attention is on the Dunstan-Matthew father-son type relationship, but also honor versus revenge versus being able to be flexible and to take on information and be able to change your mind based off the information that is at hand. Dunstan's biggest character trait, and the thing that really helped him to survive for so many years, was stubbornly sticking to his guns, and no matter what people told him, he was going to stick with his plan, and he was going to just out-survive everybody. That might have been what helped Dunstan and Matthew build up Dunstan's ranch and build up his little empire of beef. But it is also what is hampering Dunstan for this story, because his stubbornness, his inability to change his mind, creates a conflict in the book. So at the core of this book is the immovable force of Dunstan coming against someone can be just as stubborn, but whose stubbornness is tempered by other things. Things that Dunstan would consider softness, but things where Dunstan's stubbornness would leave him at risk of becoming a relic of the past before time would take him naturally. Matthew's ability, his softness, as Dunstan calls it, allows him to move with the times, to see, okay, this is what worked before, but if we want to survive, if Texas is to survive, I need to be able to take on new information, and I need to be able to not change my values, but to change how I approach things within my values. Still keep what's truly important to me, honor, justice, that kind of thing. Keep that at my core, but not be so immovable that it leads others to death and actually ends up working against my ultimate goals. So Red River, it is to a certain extent an examination of two different kinds. Well, it is an examination of two different ways of approaching the world, but it's also just a good action, not action-packed like there's a bunch of fighting, although there is fighting in it, but it's written in a very everything has attention to it. Everything is charged. Every decision is charged. Every emotion is charged. The characters aren't really given an opportunity to sit back and relax and truly think even the way that the characters might like to, because what the plot is built around will not let that occur. Dunstan will not let that occur. Dunstan is always going to be moving forward, pushing things forward. The plot is always going to be driven by Dunstan. So like I said, this book was a 4-star for me. I do also recommend the movie, but in comparison, I would probably mark the movie as a 3-star. If you were to take out or adjust Tess's parts to be more book accurate, I would probably give it higher. I actually like movie Cherry better than book Cherry, although he probably works better within his book context. There are definitely aspects of this I do recognize from the movie, quite a bit of it, other than most of the stuff with Tess. I do recommend people see both see the movie and read the book. I usually recommend reading the book first, although for this particular story, I don't think it much matters because there are differences in some very key areas, or at least with some very key characters, Cherry and Tess in particular, which change the flavor of the two stories enough that I don't think that someone who enjoyed the movie first, like I did, will enjoy the book any less, or vice versa. Although, no, I think that you can still enjoy the movie if you read the book first and enjoy it. So yeah, that's my slightly disjointed review of Red River. And hope that you find that you enjoy not only this book, if you choose to read it, but if you, for whatever reason, don't have access to the book, don't feel like reading Western right away, but you would want to enjoy a nice old-fashioned Western, go check out John Wayne and Montgomery Clift in Red River. Like I said, it's not the strongest of the John Wayne Western canon, mostly because of Tess, but it's still a pretty good movie. Thank you very much for joining me for this video, and I will see you for the next one. God bless. Bye.
Books keep coming home with me, piles so tall they're all I see. Turn a page and sail the sea. Reading always feels so free.